Right now, you're seeing what I consider to be the most important exercise to master the pentatonic scale. This was a game changer for me, and you can imagine how covering the full neck like this will transform your knowledge and confidence when the time comes to solo. So we all know the pentatonic is a 5-note scale. In the case of A minor, it's just A, C, D, E and G. This sounds simple, but if we map everywhere we can play these notes on the neck, it looks like this, which is too much for most of us to process. So we need to break this down into smaller shapes that we can absorb into our muscle memory. We can take each of the 5 notes of the scale and use them as a starting point to build a pattern on the guitar neck. This gives us 5 shapes, which together allow us to play anywhere on the neck. Think of learning these shapes as just like when you learned your first chords, and just as important. So let's look at how we play these shapes, and we'll build up the exercise you saw at the beginning as we go through. We'll look deeper at how we can apply these positions musically in future videos, but for now, let's focus on getting the notes down. So position 1 is the classic pentatonic shape that pretty much everyone starts with. In A minor, it's 5 and 8 on the low E, and then 5 and 7 on the A, 5 and 7 on the D, 5 and 7 on the G, and then 5 and 8 on the B, 5 and 8 on the high E. So let's just start by playing up and down this shape. Now, as most of us know that one already, let's get straight into position 2, which starts on the 2nd degree of the scale, the C. So now instead of this C being the 2nd note in our pattern, it's going to become our starting point, and our pattern will look like this. 8 and 10 on the low E, 7 and 10 on the A, 7 and 10 on the D, 7 and 9 on the G, and then shift across a little bit with your finger for 8 and 10 on the B, and 8 and 10 on the high E. So all together, up and down that one. Now, this shape isn't quite as comfortable, and just a word on fingering. Sometimes you'll see me using my little finger when we get a 3-fret gap, and sometimes not. This depends where on the guitar I'm playing and whether I expect to bend the note. For example, up here in the first position, I often bend this note, so I'll play it on the stronger finger here, but you can do what's comfortable for you. Anyway, once we've got this shape under our fingers, we can start our main exercise. And what we want to be able to do is come up position 1 and then back down position 2, like this. So up position 1. So we get to the top of there, and then what I'm going to do is shift across, just lift the pressure off a little bit and come up to the last note of position 2, and then come back down that position. So all together, up position 1, shift, down position 2, and I can go back round again and create like an infinite loop to practice that if I like. And now you can see just with these 2 positions, we're really starting to build out our fretboard knowledge for this pentatonic scale. So now on to position 3, and this time we're starting on the 3rd degree of the scale, the D. So 1, 2, 3 in the first position. Now this D we're going to bring up to here, the 10th fret on the low E, and our shape's going to look like this. 10 and 12 on the low E, 10 and 12 on the A, 10 and 12 on the D, and then on the G, 9 and 12, and then we need to offset a little bit there to go 10 and 13 on the B, and 10 and 12 on the high E. All together. Just be careful where that offset happens with the 2 strings where we've got those 3-fret gaps there. So back to our exercise, and now we can play up position 1, shift across and down position 2, and then shift across, up position 3, all together. see, and our fretboard knowledge is really building enormously now. Just be careful when you make this shift across from here to here. You just need to move this first finger over, and that should be fine. Just try and play it without too much of a gap there. As you play through this up and then down exercise, don't worry about playing fast. This is about building fretboard knowledge, not shred. But you do want to go fast enough that it builds muscle memory, i.e. you're playing slightly on autopilot and you want to play at a consistent tempo without any pauses. Now moving on up to position 4, so starting on the 4th degree of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is an E, but we're going to play it here, starting at the 12th fret on the low E. So we're going to get 12 and 15 on the low E, 12 and 15 on the A, 12 and 14 on the D, 12 and 14 on the G, and then 13 and 15 on the B, and 12 and 15 on the high E. All together. Now this is probably the most used position after position 1, so get really used to using this one. Let's just play up and down it. Like that. Then back to our exercise, and you can guess where this is going. Up position 1, down position 2, up position 3, and once you get to here we can shift over and down position 4 like that. Then all the way up to the 5th position, starting on the 5th degree of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is this G, but we're going to be starting up here, with it here at the 15th fret on the low E. So we've got 15 and 17 on the low E, 15 and 17 on the A, 14 and 17 on the D, 14 and 17 on the G, 15 and 17 on the B, and 15 and 17 on the high E. Like that. So now all together for our exercise, we've got up position 1, down position 2, up position 3, down position 4, and then up position 5. And then what you'll realise is once we get to the end of position 5 here, we can shift up again. And we're back at position 1, but an octave higher. Now once we've got back to position 1 up here, and come down that one, we can actually shift back down and come up position 5, shift back down, down position 4, and so on and so forth. So now we can create an infinite loop going up and down that we can practice with. Now once we've got this exercise working starting on position 1, we need to change things up. So let's do it again, but this time we'll start on position 5, down here, starting with this G at the 3rd fret on the low E string. So position 5 here, shifting into position 1 here. And what you'll see that this reverses which positions we're going up versus down. So we started off going up position 1, now we're coming down it, then we were going down position 2, now we'll be going up it. And it's surprising how much this small change really tests our knowledge of these shapes. Now on my Patreon I've tabbed out this exercise in each of the 5 main keys we use for guitar, and what you'll find is the ideal starting position will vary depending on the key. So for example, if we look at C sharp minor, where we get position 1 here at the 9th fret, we probably don't want to start there, but we could start with position 3 down here at the 2nd fret, and then position 4, 5, and then we don't see that classic position 1 until most of the way through the exercise. Now, I believe the typical intermediate guitarist can get this exercise down in a few weeks, maybe a month, which is nothing in comparison to a lifetime of guitar playing, and I promise this will transform your soloing forever.